So today we are going to sketch Bad Bunny. He's singer and I came to know about him while I was watching WWE, and the way he wrestled, even he's not a wrestler, I was amazed and I became a huge fan of him. So for the good cause, before we start this tutorial, my only goal is to share art to every single person in this world. So today's like goal will be 10. So subscribe, share and comment how much you will rate this tutorial. So to begin with, we are going to decide which technique we are going to use. So for example, there is a different type of techniques like perspective technique, shape technique, grid technique, guidelines and different type of techniques to make a particular portrait. So we are going to use grid technique. And if you don't know how to make grids, I have made a complete tutorial on my channel how to use grid, how to make grid on your tutorial, and link will be given in the description box. You can check out that. So dimension of this portrait is 22 cross 16, 22 vertical boxes and 16 horizontal boxes. This is A3 sheet. You can make it on A4 sheet or A2 sheets, whatever you want. You can change those dimensions to. One box is equal to 1.5 centimeter. And if you don't know how to apply grid to your reference picture, I have uploaded a complete tutorial in easy way so that you know how to apply those grids. So many people use printouts and make tutorials or make grids on those papers. The problem with making grids on paper is that you cannot zoom out so that you see details. Most of the people nowadays have mobiles, so use mobile for making grids, and there are so many applications also. I personally use PixArt to make those grids on reference picture. I have uploaded a complete tutorial you can check out, and link is again given in the description box. Now if you want to see this tutorial or any tutorial that I have uploaded in this particular channel of mine, Shwet Sketches, I have uploaded this complete 12-hour or 14-hour sketches of real time. So many artists or so many people will charge you for real time sketches or their courses. I have uploaded it on free on my second channel, which is Shwet Sketches 2.0. You can check out on YouTube searching Shwet Sketches 2.0, or link is also in my description box. Now first of all, we are going to make outlines. So to make outlines of any portraits, you should zoom out your pictures you are using or the reference picture that you are using or edited. And the reason behind this is that when you will zoom out, so many important lines will be visible on a particular box of a grid. So now which pencil we are going to use to make outlines is also important. So if you want to use a 8B pencil for the outlines, you won't be able to blend it with the face because 8B or 10B pencils are a little bit more darker, and darker outlines will be visible if you are going to blend it with if the skin tone of any portrait that you are using is dark, then okay, you can use 8B. Then it's not preferable also to make outlines with 8B or 10B, but it's okay if that skin tone is dark, but most of the time it's light, so you should use a H or 3B pencil to make outlines. Otherwise you won't be able to complete it using, or you won't be able to blend it with the face or skin texture. And don't forget to focus on outlines of eyes, nose, lips and shape of face, because first thing anyone will notice are these three things. If you will blunder these three things, your sketch will look horrible. Now focus on the distances between eyes, eye size, nose and everything of outlines of these three things is important also, because eyes, if one eye is 1.5 centimeter and other eye is 1.7 or 6 centimeter, then difference is completely visible. So focus on the sizes also. Now before we start shading, the most important thing for any sketch is how good you shade, or you can do good shading requires patience and practice. It's not that while you will start your first or second portrait and you learn to know how to shade. It takes time, and it will give, if you will give more and more time to your shadings, try it on other pages, try shading, try blending. Don't go for blending at first, try learning shading. Now for the hair and head part of Bad Bunny, we are going to start with making base layer for head using H pencil. And the reason behind using H pencil is that it is the lightest one. And the problem with the darker one is that if you are going directly with the darker one, it will leave its marks, and if you want to erase it, it will not be erased easily, or it will not blend it easily. So go from lighter to darker. Don't go for darker to light, because it is the easy way. If you are going for lighter one, you can erase easily, but if you are going for darker one at the base layer, you won't be make easily, and no sketch will look a complete realistic sketch if you are not going for a darker mid-tone or this type of tone things. Now don't forget that which pencil you are using for making base layers is also important. H, 2B or B pencils are the lighter ones, so shade it with your pencil or sharpen your pencils before using it also. Now blending base layer with tissue is the best option, and why I am telling this that blending it with the tissue is important, because tissue will give you a particular uniform blending, and blending stumps, earbuds and this type of smaller portions things will give you non-uniform. It will give you a good texture while shading or blending, but not perfect. But tissue will give you a perfect uniform blending as a base layer, so you can use tissues. Now after blending, we are going to start making hairs, but keeping in mind that hairs have different directions. So to make those directions, you have to zoom out your pictures and see where the smaller hairs are going. Most of the times women's hairs are straight, or not most of the time those are curves. So human or man hairs are most of the time shorter hairs and different type of directions on those hairs. Like starting hairs are a little bit curving on left side, curving on right side, so you have to see where the directions of hairs are going. So you should use 3B or 2B pencil for that. Now see where little lighter or darker hairs are. Important part of any portraits are highlights and shadows. You should focus where the highlights and shadows are going on. We are going to discuss what highlights and shadows are in next tutorials also, but right now gradually increase more and more darker values according to reference picture. So reference picture is lighter, or you can see the skin texture, or you can also see the skin tone. It is lighter, mid tone or complete darker. So Bad Bunny photo is little bit more mid-tone on the left hand side and right hand side, not complete white. His in real completely lighter his skin tone is, but for this particular portrait that I am using, there are so many shadows, so you have to keep in mind that there are more mid-tones as compared to lighter tones. Now we are going to the biggest mistake that most of the artists or people do while shading is that they use fingers to blend skin, and this is basically taught in school as a basic shading and blending. But this technique ruins the important note for any portrait sketching, and that is blending different shadows and highlights. If you will use your finger for making blending on your paper, it is not uniform as particular. So if you want to make a lighter tone and darker tone, or blend it using your blending stump or any type of tools that you are using, it is a little bit more easy. But if you are going to use a finger, it will be not uniform, or your darker or lower tone will not be easily equalized. So transition from lighter tone to darker tone, it is more realism, so you have to keep on focusing on these things also. Now if you are going for a hyper realistic or realistic sketches, you should make base layer first. Don't forget anytime what base layer is, and then when you make details like tissues or skin textures, don't smoothen them, because if you are making details like skin texture or smaller to smaller details of face or skin texture, if you will blend it, the main purpose of your I want to give you an example that if you will focus on your more skin, if you will zoom out your skin or go more and more towards this, you will see so many tissues, block like tissues or break like tissues. If you will make that into your portrait sketch or your drawing book, it will give you a hyper realism, and that is the main purpose of making realistic sketches, because it will give you a complete photo look, like the photo is looking and the drawing both look similar. The main purpose of any sketches is this only. So for this particular thing, you shouldn't blend the skin texture. If you will see more and more details or skin texture, if the reference picture that you are using is not having skin texture, don't apply it, because if you will make 100 or 200 sketches, then you will know where the skin texture is a little bit more curving, where it's going on. So you should focus on these things also. Now, cross hatching technique will help you give more darker values and even fill up the tiniest pores of paper. So if you are going to use the common paper that you see on stationeries for writing and drawing papers and these things, those papers don't have so many pores, and the reason is that, and texture also, and the reason is that those are made for the kids drawings. So kids don't know what to make particular portrait or what hatching, cross hatching and these things. They just want to make a particular drawing and that's it. So if you are an artist or if you want to make a portraits in future also, you should use a textured 140 GSM, 120 GSM, and above that it is a little bit more tougher for you to make more and more drawings, because more and more texture or more and more GSM papers are for more texture or more mature artists, because they know how to give more details to those parts. Now again, I will tell you that if you will use more textured papers, you have to shade it more and more, because those have smaller dots on them. So if you will not fill those damps on the paper, your sketches will look completely not realistic. It will give you a drawing look. So cross hatching will help you fill up those pores also. So this technique is also useful for making shadings and blending also.
So if you have learned something from this video, subscribe and drop a like, and comment down your question and queries regarding this tutorial. Meanwhile, take care of your loved ones too. Have an artistic day. Tattoos.